I loved Twin Peaks. I thought it was an incredible, incredible show. And for whatever reason, it ran a year and a half, and that was the end of it. Being on Desperate Housewives, do you see how they're creating a show that can go on and on and on?
Incredibly tiring. My God, year after year.
In a way that Peaks couldn't, or didn't, for whatever reason.
What's that?
Well,
Sorry,
can you see why Housewives is designed in a way that continues the storyline in a way that, for
well,
whatever
it's because
reason...
of Marc Cherry.
Okay.
You have someone who's captaining the ship in a beautiful way. And for whatever reason with Twin Peaks, nothing against David Lynch or Mark Frost, that really wasn't what they wanted to do.
They just actually, I have a Twin Peaks story about this. When Bob Iger, who was just about to take over ABC when we went to New York for the upfronts, he actually brought up Twin Peaks, which I was a fan of. And he said to me that when you approached the show, you know, we had a problem with Twin Peaks because he said, one, I don't think that they had completely planned out ahead of time, you know, where they were going. So they started putting in weird things for the, you know, where he thought they didn't connect. And the second was that he felt at some point the show stopped becoming relatable. And I said to him, well, because the premise of my show is, at the end of the day, the idea behind this is just talking about the lives of women, ordinary women who are in the lives that they wanted for themselves, their mothers, their wives, and yet something's going wrong and they get a little crazy. And I said, I think that I will always try to put as many of the small moments in, which I think will always, you know, intrigue the audience, hopefully. But also I said, and I will make sure that every episode feels like you've finished something. I think one of the things they were concerned about with Twin Peaks, it was so many cliffhangers each week that there wasn't that kind of feeling that you get watching, say, you know, a CSI or a Golden Girls where it's like, oh, it's over. You know, all the characters have returned now to the same place where you started. So that was something that ABC was actually concerned about because I think everyone remembers Twin Peaks fondly, but it did get, with all due respect to those creators, it got a little convoluted there towards the end. And so I wanted very much for the people who watched our show to feel at the end of an episode there was both a sense of completion and hopefully, oh, and I would like to return next week to see what happens next. But it's a tricky, tricky balance in TV. It's having done both, it's much easier to have the characters go back to square one at the end of the week.
Right.
You know.
Kyle, you're only supposed to be on for the first season, isn't that right? You were going to be the villain and then get out of Dodge?
Yeah, yeah.
What changed?
Second show, third season, I went into Mark's office and said, please, please. I just said to him, I said, you know what, I'm having a great time. I love working with Marcia. Love the cast, love the crew. This is great. You know, work is 10 minutes from my house. I just asked Mark if he could find a way that I could stay around for a while. And he said, let me think about it.
It was tricky because he had just run Mike Delfino over.
These are small things to worry about.
And also, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, that was the same week that we found out Marcia was pregnant.
Yes.
And it was like, I was like, okay, what more can they do to me? And I said, okay, well, let's okay, Marcia's not going to be here for a few months, and you want to come back? And I walked into the writer's room, and fortunately, it was at the beginning of the season, so we went to work to try to do it. But really, for me, and I know probably some of you out there felt this way, I went, well, he ran him over. How do I get my audience to fully engage in this marriage when he's a murderer? So, or an attempted murderer, I should say. And so, you know, that's one of the reasons why I had him go to prison. Because I thought in just some way, I go, that's going to make me feel better about it. That this secret's out there, and let's just, he tried to run Mike over, and let's just have him cop to it. And what was nice is, you know, he went to prison during the 5-year jump. So he